So, at one level, an enormous personal victory for Prince Harry over News Group newspapers. Rupert Murdoch's news organisation is paying him a hefty, perhaps ginormous chunk of money, and issued a frankly grovelling and lengthy apology for the way it obtained information about him. I'm talking about surveillance, phone hacking, and the misuse of private information. The publishers made, in their words, a full and unequivocal apology to the Duke of Sussex for the serious intrusion by the Sun between 1996 and 2011 into his private life, including incidents of unlawful activities carried out by private investigators working for the Sun. We acknowledge, they went on, and apologise for the distress caused to the Duke and the damage inflicted on relationships, friendships and family, and have agreed to pay him substantial damages. It's probably between 10 and 20 million pounds. And that is the short version of the apology. So why do I say it was a victory for Harry at one level? Answer, because by settling, the publishers don't have to have their day in court with revelations tumbling out about exactly what they were up to, which must have been quite something. Let's talk first to Tina Brown, both a royal biographer and writer about Harry, but whose late husband, Harry Evans, was a famous editor who fell out with Mr. Murdoch back in the day. She told me what she thought contributed to Prince Harry changing his mind after being so committed to making sure he faced those tabloids in open court.
Simply the British legal system, which I think is frankly pretty tonto, which is that even if you win, if the compensation offered to you is less than the original deal that was offered, then you have to pay it out. And that's why Hugh Grant in the end, he just couldn't be on the hook for that amount of money. So I think that, even Harry at some point had to settle. But look, he took them right to the courtroom door. I truly admire Harry for making this stand. I mean, he really did. I mean, he's put himself through hell. He's put everybody in the family through hell in a way. But on behalf of something righteous, frankly, which is that he was trying to sort of reclaim his childhood. He was trying to reclaim the peace of mind of his mother that was kind of, sabotaged for so long with all these intrusions. So I think we really have to admire, frankly, his cojones for going through this.
Indeed, because he's spoken before about, I don't think he used the word, but the sort of almost sense of paranoia when he was growing up about who was it around him who was leaking all this stuff, who is actually a friend, who's not a friend, who's just recording, who's observing. It must have been a terrible, terrible way of becoming an adolescent.
It was horrible for him, and he was hounded. All of his girlfriends were persecuted and hounded. He never knew which was his friend and which wasn't, as you say. And it was a cruel and agonizing thing he was put through. So he had a lot of anger about that. But, honestly, I think at the Buckingham Palace they should be giving him a champagne reception, because the fact is that they all hate the press and they've all been tortured, each one, really by the tabloids. Look at how Camilla was utterly tortured, for all of those early years. So they ought to actually be sort of breaking out the champagne and saying, well, Harry, you did it for all of us, but I'm sure they won't be.
I'm sure they won't be as well. Do you think actually the world has changed since these events? The news of the world went under, of course, and you and I have seen a lot of newspaper apologies over the years, but I don't remember 300 words quite as grovelling, quite as fulsome as this one.
Well, I mean, they didn't have a leg to stand on, actually, in this case. I mean, they really didn't. And Murdoch has had to pay out like over £1 billion, pounds to all of these litigants over the phone hacking. I mean, it has ruined, really the economics of the British companies. So they wanted to settle this, but they also had a lot of motivation to settle this last bit, because Harry was really going for the so-called clean-up effort that was led by, Will Lewis and Rebecca Brooks, etc., after the phone hacking. And, I mean, it was supposed to be the clean-up of the sort of culture of the paper, but actually it was a clean-up on behalf of the Murdoch family to make sure that nothing, really incriminated them. And that is what they really feared. And Will Lewis, of course, who is now the CEO of the Washington Post, has had sleepless nights wondering what the hell was going to come out in this trial that was going to incriminate him, when he's now the CEO of the paper that, the great Washington Post that broke the Watergate story, where he is really a pariah in his own newsroom as this kind of awful shadow of, did this man destroy evidence, essentially, has been hanging over him. So for him, it was a giant relief. I think he will be thrilled. And I think just Rupert, and so they couldn't have those emails come out. They saw what happened in the case of the Dominion voting machines versus Fox when they actually had to pay an unbelievable fine, in that instance. I think it was a record-breaking fine of over $700 million, which was incredible thing for having lied constantly on the air, saying that the Dominion voting machines threw the election for Biden. And of course, when all those texts started to come out, it showed that the people who worked at Fox all knew that they were actually going on the air telling a lie. So, he couldn't go through that again, in fact. So there really wasn't any alternative but to what happened, I think.
Media companies survive that kind of thing. I was really interested in what you were saying just a moment ago about the other will, the heir to the throne here, because, of course, the two brothers have been semi-estranged for a while. You said you thought the royal family should open the champagne for Harry after this. Is this the kind of moment perhaps his brother might look at him again and think, you know what, not all bad?
I don't know. It should be. I think this could be a moment when, if William, I think it'd be a very big thing for William to do, to say, hey, good on you. You did it for us. You did it for our mother. But, William had made his own settlement quietly, which greatly irritated Harry. And I'm not sure how much William really likes this pivot in Harry's image, because I think at the moment, I think you will find, we will all find, or maybe you already know, that the man in the street says, good on you, Harry, for going to do this. And I'm not sure how much William adores Harry getting that kind of press.
And what of Harry himself, Tina? This is a lot of money. He's been worried in the past about, paying for the security around him in Montecito and the kind of life he wants to live. This makes him secure in a way that he hasn't felt, presumably, for a while.
Well, in Montecito, 10 million doesn't get you very far.
I thought you were going to say that. I knew you'd say that.
That is sort of, for 10 million, the only thing you can buy is a tear down. So I think it probably helps with a few of the, gardening bills. Obviously, it would be a very cool thing if he could put it into his foundation to grow that, which is quite honestly a very, very tinily funded foundation. They haven't raised really anything much for the foundation. But I suspect that their financial circumstances will mean that it has to be kept, to pay off, as you say, the security and all the debts that they might start to accrue soon if all these deals fall through. But yes, it must be a nice feeling to think that you've got, shall we say, a year's worth of bills paid.
I've rarely had a conversation that makes me feel more like the shivering peasant on the wrong side of the palisade looking upwards, Tina, but it's been absolutely fascinating. Thank you so much.
Hello, welcome back to Royal Sussex Squad. Today we're diving into the ever-evolving dynamic between Prince Harry and Prince William, brothers turned rivals in what has become a deeply symbolic fracture within the royal family. What's fueling this tension? And why does Harry's transparency and success seem to rattle William so much? The once unbreakable bond between Prince William and Prince Harry now seems to be hanging by a thread. Prince Harry and Prince William, two names that once symbolised unity and brotherhood within the British monarchy. Once inseparable brothers, their bond now seems fractured, a stark contrast to their playful camaraderie of the past. They were the epitome of sibling love, sharing laughter and joy in the public eye. The tension is palpable, evident in their strained interactions and carefully chosen words. Their once easygoing rapport has been replaced by a formality that feels almost alien. The once united front, a symbol of strength for the monarchy, now reflects a growing divide within the House of Windsor. The brothers, who once stood shoulder to shoulder, now seem worlds apart. At the heart of this rift lies a fundamental difference: their approach to royal life and their willingness to challenge the age-old traditions that bind them. This divergence in their philosophies has only widened the gap. Harry, once the mischievous younger brother, has emerged as a vocal advocate for change. He has taken bold steps to redefine his role, speaking out on issues close to his heart. He has dared to break free from the constraints of royal protocol, embracing a more modern and relatable approach. His actions have resonated with many, but have also caused friction within the royal family. William, on the other hand, remains steadfast in his adherence to tradition, seemingly bound by the weight of expectation that comes with being heir to the throne. His sense of duty and responsibility to the crown is unwavering, This divergence in their paths has created a chasm between them, leaving many to wonder if reconciliation is even possible. The once clear path of brotherhood now seems fraught with obstacles. The public, once captivated by their brotherly bond, now bears witness to a strained relationship. The world watches with bated breath, hoping for a resolution that seems increasingly elusive. While Harry has embraced a more modern, outspoken approach to royal life, often challenging the norms and traditions that have long defined the British monarchy, his brother William remains tethered to tradition, upholding the values and duties expected of a future king. This stark contrast in their paths has, according to royal biographer Tina Brown, fueled a sense of envy in the future king. William, who has always been seen as the more reserved and dutiful brother, finds himself in a difficult position. Brown, known for her insightful and often controversial observations of the royal family, suggests that William has struggled to reconcile his brother's newfound freedom with his own dutiful existence. She delves deep into the emotional and psychological impact this has had on William. In her book, The Palace Papers, Brown paints a picture of William grappling with the implications of Harry's choices. She describes how William's sense of duty and responsibility often clashes with his personal feelings of envy and frustration. She argues that William, bound by the weight of his future role, views Harry's departure from royal life as a betrayal of their shared duty. This sense of betrayal is compounded by the public's adoration for Harry and Meghan, which only serves to highlight William's own sacrifices. This perceived abandonment, coupled with the overwhelming public adoration for Harry and Meghan, has created a breeding ground for resentment and envy. William, who has always been in the public eye, now finds himself overshadowed by his younger brother's newfound popularity. Brown's insights, gleaned from years of observing the royal family, provide a glimpse into the complex dynamics at play within the House of Windsor. She highlights the emotional toll that these dynamics have on both brothers. She suggests that William, raised from birth to be king, struggles to comprehend Harry's desire for a life outside the gilded cage of royalty. This fundamental difference in their worldviews has created a significant rift between them. This fundamental difference in their worldviews, exacerbated by the pressures of their respective roles, has created a chasm between the brothers, one that may prove difficult to bridge. The future of their relationship remains uncertain as they navigate their individual paths within and outside the royal family. As we close, it's clear Prince Harry has become a beacon of authenticity, breaking barriers and carving his own path. Thank you for tuning in to Royal Sussex Squad. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more honest takes on the Sussex's journey and royal family dynamics.